Up with KREM begins now.
Hi there, friends. Good Halloween morning to you all. Thanks so much for joining us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Nicole Hernandez. We do want to get to our meteorologist, Thomas Patrick, right away because it's Halloween, which means people are going to be outside trick-or-treating today. So, Thomas, it's cold, but eh.
Yeah, that's normal, right?
Okay.
I mean, it's Eastern Washington, it's North Idaho at the end of October. What else did we expect? It's always cold for Halloween. We know that never fails, but our weather, not terribly cold. It's not like dead of winter kind of cold out there. Even right now, it's 28 degrees, which isn't too far away from our averages. And with some sunshine today, should be another fairly pleasant afternoon before the trick-or-treating. So there's your current temperatures as the kids are probably heading to school before a healthy night of trick-or-treating, so to speak. 28 in Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 34 right now in Pullman. And as we look at the hour-by-hour forecast, it does get down into the 30s, but not until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night with increasing cloud cover into those evening hours.
This morning, a neighborhood in Millwood is mourning after 2 children were killed in a house fire.
The fire broke out early yesterday morning and quickly consumed the entire house. KREM 2 was able to speak with a neighbor who says that his 8-year-old son became recent friends with the 2 boys who lived in that home.
As a dad, my first thoughts were the safety of my kid. Also, empathy for my kid because, well, these are his friends, and I knew that I was going to have to tell him, and I didn't want to. He's just still processing.
The family's 2 dogs were also killed in the fire. The children's father was injured in the fire, as well as a Spokane Valley firefighter. Investigators spent yesterday going through the rubble, still trying to figure out what led to this deadly fire. Now, the identities of the children have not been released, but the Spokane County Sheriff's Office says that the children are believed to be 7 and 9 years old. There's a GoFundMe that's been started for the mother of the children. And this morning, Washington State Patrol is asking for witnesses to a deadly hit and run on Highway 395 near Lind. The incident shut the highway down for several hours. Troopers think this all happened around 3:30 yesterday morning. A person driving southbound hit and killed a 31-year-old man from Lakewood. Troopers are now asking anyone who saw the crash to call Washington State Patrol. Their number is there at the bottom of your screen. A Spokane veteran is joining a class action lawsuit against the Department of Defense.
So Hayden Powell was kicked out of the Air Force in the late 90s because of her sexual orientation and says she still cannot get benefits other vets get. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk reports.
I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to be a part of something that I always thought was larger than myself.
That's why Hayden Powell says she enlisted in 1999. Stationed at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana, she was trained as a radio operator. She loved the job, and her dad was so proud he started a scrapbook. Today, it's difficult for her to flip through the pages.
I was 21 when I was kicked out. I'm 45, and I'm still trying to get it together.
Powell served during the military's Don't Ask, Don't Tell era and says she kept her sexual orientation a secret, but someone outed her.
Came to me and let me know ahead of time that she had informed our first sergeant of my sexual orientation. And I looked at her and said, "You just ruined my career."
That same day, Powell was ordered to report to the base commander's office.
He started reading from a form that stated that somebody had said that I was a lesbian and that they were initiating an investigation into alleged acts of homosexual conduct.
Powell was kicked out of the Air Force, and her separation paperwork, or DD Form 214, lists homosexual acts as the reason.
Felt like a criminal. I felt ashamed, embarrassed, scared, and alone.
Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed more than a decade ago. Service members no longer have to hide their sexual orientation, but Powell says she's still being denied benefits other veterans are entitled to.
No, I can't get the VA one-time home loan or just even the monthly veterans benefits, medical insurance. And because of what it says on my 214 and the discharge codes, I can't access those things.
Powell has joined a class action lawsuit against the Department of Defense, seeking justice for the estimated 35,000 LGBTQ+ vets discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
No one is seeking money damages. This case is about restoring honor, and the government fixing all of these military records that it has had the opportunity to fix for over a decade.
35,000 people that decided willingly to serve our country, to defend rights and freedoms that we do not even have, or can't even enjoy ourselves.
In Spokane, Kyle Simcha, KREM 2 News.
Today, a World War II soldier from Spokane will finally be laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery. The group POW MIA recently identified the remains of 36-year-old Sergeant James M. Triplett of Spokane. He was a radio operator serving in the Army Air Forces on a bomber when his plane was shot down over Germany. Other soldiers who ejected and survived the crash say they never saw Triplett get out of the plane. He also was never reported as a German prisoner of war. So he was officially declared dead in 1945. Then almost a decade ago, his remains were recovered from the crash, but they didn't know who he was until just last year. Well, this morning we are now officially 1 week away from the November 7th election here in Washington and Idaho.
So here are some things that you should know, though, before Election Day. By now, voters in Washington should have received their ballots in the mail. All you need to do is fill it out and get it in a drop box or get it postmarked in the mail by 8 p.m. on election night. The deadline to register to vote online or by mail has already passed. However, you can still register to vote anytime in person, even on Election Day.
And in Idaho, you can already start early voting in most counties, including here in Kootenai County. You can find your county's early voting locations at voteidaho.gov. Early voting does end this Friday. Then on actual election day, which is again Tuesday, November 7th, polls will open at 8 a.m. and be open until 8 p.m. Here in Idaho, you can register to vote at the polls. Just be sure to bring your current photo ID and proof of residence.
Now, if you would like more information about the races, the candidates, propositions, or anything that's on the ballot in Spokane County, KREM 2 has you covered. Text us the word VOTE to our number 509-448-2000, and we'll text you a link to our comprehensive voters guide. On there, you'll be able to find everything you need to know before casting your ballot.
It's 6:08 on this Halloween morning, but focused on the evening hours, of course. Those trick-or-treat hours looking quite fine. No rain, no snow, a dry forecast, which is what we can usually hope for any given Halloween. Should be decently mild during the day with temperatures almost near 50 degrees and then not getting into the 30s until about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. But as we look ahead towards early November, it starts to get, well, warmer, but more importantly, a lot wetter. We are tracking a series of rainy storm systems for the Pacific Northwest starting on Thursday, and I'll show you how much rain we are already forecasting through this weekend, all coming up in a few minutes.